President Donald Trump is set to meet with congressional leaders today to see if an agreement can be reached to avert a possible government shutdown, which is just one day away. The latest from Washington, D.C. coming up.
Also coming up here, I know very little about this, but we're going to bring you a preview to a new comedy series that's all about a disgraced Oregon Duck quarterback who tries to make a comeback years later. More details on the way as we kick off the 7 o'clock hour of Sunrise right now.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us live at 7 o'clock. I'm China Green.
And I'm Drew Carney. Chris McGinnis, Rod Hill entering the frame right there. So again, Rod, I'd never heard about this show. It looked like it was on Hulu, but we'll have more details on this comedy about a former Oregon Duck quarterback who's disgraced, and then he tries to make a comeback.
Yeah, I've seen the previews. Chad Powell, who's one of the big, he's like one of the Hollywood
heavyweights,
A-listers now, right?
Chad Powell. I think that's the name, his name in the movie. I don't think that's his real name.
I just nodded because
his real name is Glenn Powell.
Well,
hey,
he is a Hollywood heavyweight, and he was in the new Maverick movie, right, with Tom Cruise.
Doing great, sweetie.
Your regular Hollywood minute wrapped up into a weather box.
You know, you don't always see the moment when you get embarrassed. Like that just hit me out of the blue. Here's a look at our radar satellite picture. The rainy pattern back as we thought it would be today, tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday. So far, it's been steady rain along the coast, and then this rain is slowly encroaching over the coast range. And now, Salem, you're on the front edge of starting to pick up what's going to be a rainy morning moving forward. McMinnville, you're now into the steady rain. You'll keep it all morning. Portland, we're starting to see light rain showers come in from the west side. Once this picks up in the next 60 minutes, we will see steady rain the remainder of this morning, steady rain at noon into much of the afternoon. So right now, still just sprinkles around in the city, 61, but that'll be changing in this hour. So it'll be steady light rain at noon, steady light rain. Breaks in the showers somewhere around 3 or 4 o'clock this afternoon, it looks like. So pretty gray, wet day overall, Chris, but the type of rain that I just don't think it's going to be bad to be out and about in, sir.
And hopefully that holds true, right? But for now, the drive actually, as Rod mentioned, without the rain is not doing that bad for a Monday morning. This is a live look at the Banfield out in the Hollywood district. Obviously a little slow and go in from that side of town. Right now you're tripping from Troutdale about 23 minutes or so at last check. Switching gears, the trip through North Portland I-5 up near Rosa Parks. There's the southbound commute. That too is in relatively good shape for now. 16 minutes get you in from Main Street south to the Fremont Bridge. Guys.
All right, thank you, Chris. Our top local story this morning is one of the top stories in the country. The Trump administration authorizing the deployment of the National Guard to Portland. So this was the scene downtown on Sunday as Mayor Keith Wilson and Oregon Governor Tina Kotek led a protest against the administration's decision. Both the city and the state are also suing the Trump administration over that decision. Governor Kotek called it unlawful.
So the lawsuit aims to block the deployment of 200 National Guard members. Sunrise reporter Thomas Schultz joins us in downtown Portland outside the Justice Center. Thomas, what else have state leaders said about this?
Well, guys, state leaders say there's no legitimate reason to validate the authorization and deployment of those 200 National Guard troops, all of that leading Oregon Attorney General Dan Rayfield, in part, to file the lawsuit.
The president is either purposefully ignoring the reality on the ground in Portland to score political points, or at best is recklessly relying upon social media gossip.
And on Sunday, you just saw Governor Tina Kotek there joining protesters along the waterfront who marched after President Trump on Saturday said troops were needed to protect ICE facilities in, quote, war-ravaged Portland. Though on Sunday morning, Trump told NBC he had a phone call with Kotek that showed him a different perspective, saying, "I spoke to the governor, she was very nice, but I said, well, wait a minute, am I watching things on television that are different from what's happening? My people tell me different. They're literally attacking and there are fires all over the place." Trump's action would activate the Oregon National Guard for 60 days where protests are occurring or likely to occur. Still, Governor Kotek and hundreds of protesters marched Sunday with hopes of showing the president troops are not needed in the Rose City.
When people cross the line, there's unlawful activity, people are being held accountable. This is not an insurrection. This does not require military troops in an American city.
Well, I hope Trump and a lot of the other folks from ICE and others who are in Washington are watching us today and saying, I guess the people in Portland really don't think it's a hellhole. I guess they really don't want us here.
So still a lot to be determined, but coming up at the next half hour, I'll give you a little bit more information on where those troops could be deployed. A lot of that would namely be at the Portland Ice Facility along the south waterfront. We'll also bring you more details on what those protests actually look like, especially over the past few months. Drew, Jenna.
Thomas, thank you. And there was also a planned rally by the ICE facility on Sunday afternoon. This was separate from the protests led by Governor Kotek and Mayor Wilson. But federal officers did come out of the building on multiple occasions to clear the roadway for vehicles coming into the facility. One person in attendance described why they were there.
I'm out here today because Trump wants to paint Portland as a living hellscape, but we're here together, banding together as a community and showing that the only violence in Portland is ICE kidnapping our community members.
Our crew on scene saw Portland police officers monitoring the crowd but not assisting federal officers.
So while that's happening locally, President Trump is also meeting with congressional leaders in Washington, D.C. today, with the deadline on a government shutdown looming. NBC's Alice Barr brings us the latest on that from the nation's capital.
A critical meeting today in the race to prevent a government shutdown tomorrow night at midnight. President Trump sitting down with the top 4 congressional leaders in both parties as Democrats press to negotiate for their support.
You don't do this by one party putting together a completely partisan bill and saying take it or leave it.
House Republicans already passed a short-term spending bill, but it needs votes from Democrats to succeed in the Senate.
What the Democrats have done here is take the federal government as a hostage.
Democrats pointing the finger at Republicans and holding out to reverse health care cuts and extend subsidies set to expire at the end of the year.
Americans should not see their health care suffer, their premiums spike, and people lose insurance and providers close.
Adding to the stakes, the White House alerting federal agencies that mass layoffs are coming in addition to the typical furloughs if the government does shut down. President Trump saying in an interview with NBC News, quote, "We are going to cut a lot of the people," and that it would be on a permanent basis, though he said he would rather not. Democrats calling it a scare tactic.
They're doing it anyway. There's no shutdown. They're laying off all these people.
It's a burden that can easily be avoided if the Democrats will just apply common sense and do the right thing.
All as federal workers wait to see if they'll be paid and if services are disrupted for the American people. If there is a shutdown, more than 2 million federal workers could see their paychecks stop. National parks would be forced to turn visitors away, and essential workers like air traffic controllers and TSA agents would be ordered to work without pay. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
All right, before we get back to Rod and his Monday forecast, we want to let you know that the pumpkin patch on Sauvie Island officially opened for the season over the weekend. Activities on the farm include $2 hay rides out to the pumpkins. So there was a point in time here at KGW where I specialized in pumpkin patch coverage.
Oh.
And based on that, I will tell you the best corn maze in the area is at this farm. This year's theme for the corn maze out there is Cornlandia. Cornlandia. It's a cornabration of everything Northwest. The maze, by the way, open daily, 10 to 6 through Halloween. All ages welcome. A lot of people have beats at the station. We know Blair Best is our homeless beat reporter. Thomas Schultz handles the education beat. And for a long while there, Rod, I had the pumpkin patch beat.
Yeah. Might be overstating that a little bit, but.
No, that was my beat. Pumpkin patches and corn mazes. Those are my places.
Well, there's so many. There's that one. There's Bauman's. Give me another one. They're all
with the you blow up, you send them a going.
You send them a going. Yeah. Let me think about which one she's talking about.
You put it in like the cannon.
Yeah, a couple of there are a couple of corn and apple cannons out there. Just to name another though, French Prairie Gardens.
Oh yeah,
one of my favorites. French Prairie Gardens in St. Paul.
Smaller but still fun and nice. Biz Farms up in the Brush Prairie area, up in Clark County.
And I mention this all the time. You guys are so lucky out here because in Las Vegas, when you go to a pumpkin patch, it's in a Safeway parking lot.
Yeah, it's like here's the patch.
And the Safeway parking lot, yes.
Christmas trees, the whole 9. So this is awesome.
We almost bought a pumpkin over the weekend. We were this close. They were out.
Tough decision.
But we held off. We held off.
Okay.
All right, here's a look at rain at the coast. We've got now rain coming into the west side over the coast range. So Salem right on the front edge of it. McMinnville, Hillsboro, starting to get some light rain shower activity into Portland. So this is the hour that the rain is starting to move in after what has been a mainly dry start here in the city. It's still dry out in Troutdale. Vancouver, you're starting to see a little dab of rain shower activity play with you as well. So the messaging here is all this is moving in, and I think by 8 o'clock this morning, it's 7:10 right now, we're basically in downtown Portland going to be looking at mainly a steady light rain that could be with us all the way through about 4 o'clock. So the dry time is about ready to come to an end, 61 degrees. Again, between 8 and 4, I think it's mostly a steady light rain falling in the city. That'll keep temperatures in the 60s. Not much wind, just southwest 5 to 15. Now, as the rain moves into the valley, you folks where it's been raining all morning here at the coast, you will dry out. And while there's a shower threat for you this afternoon, you could very easily just be mainly dry this afternoon. It's a dry start east of the Cascades, but bands of rain and some of it heavy expected to sweep across eastern Oregon later today as well. 7-day forecast numbers, 4 days of measurable rainfall at times. 66 today. Tomorrow looks like it's dry in the morning, then rain picks up in the afternoon. Wednesday's a rainy day. It's scattered showers on Thursday. Right now I show Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is all dry. In fact, Sunday gets an east wind. If that's the case, it'll be a beautiful blue sky. Here's Chris.
That'll be nice. All right, not nice. Got a TriMet alert right now. Just hearing from TriMet that both the max red and blue lines are delayed significantly. The red line up to 1 hour both directions. The blue line up to 30 minutes both directions because of an overhead wire issue near Washington Park. We're working to get more details on that. I'll bring those to you just as soon as we have more. Back to the freeway drive, I-84, the Banfield out near the Hollywood District. Traffic again holding steady there. We're still looking at about a 23-minute ride in from Troutdale, so that's not so bad just yet. I-5 through North Portland at Rosa Parks. The taillights here rolling from the lower left to the upper right-hand part of your screen. That's the southbound drive. And right now that trip into Clark County has jumped up in the last little bit. We're looking at just shy of 20 minutes to get you in from Main Street to the Fremont Bridge. Guys.
All right, thank you, Chris.
I'm going to do a Mrs. Doubtfire, but with football.
It's a new football comedy starring Glenn Powell as a disgraced Oregon Ducks quarterback who tries to make a comeback. We're going to have a preview of this very Oregon comedy when Sunrise continues in 2 minutes.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus.
Welcome back to Sunrise. Hollywood actor Glenn Powell is the co-creator and star of a new comedy series called Chad Powers, which makes its debut tomorrow on Hulu. So Powell plays a disgraced Oregon Ducks quarterback who tries to make a comeback years later with a new identity. Here's David Daniel with a preview.
It's time for you to move on.
There's just one problem, Dad. I'm not done with football.
Glenn Powell's Russ Holliday tries to reinvent himself as Chad Powers.
South Georgia's having open tryouts. I'm gonna do a Mrs. Doubtfire, but with football.
Easier said than done.
You here to try out? What's your name?
Jay.
And last name?
When you get on that field and you're wearing the pads and the jerseys and you're lining up behind everybody, it is a thrill. It's hard to describe how thrilling it is.
Yeah. I played high school ball. And I remember the last time. I remember taking off my helmet going, I think this is the last time I'll ever do this.
Wow.
This might be the last time.
That was one hell of a performance. You can take your helmet off. I'm going to leave it on. Why? You know, in this helmet, I feel strong. Like a strong, powerful male.
The very first day I worked with Glenn, I hadn't heard the voice yet. And when he came out and we did our rehearsal, I was like, oh no, I'm not going to be able to make it through today.
And what part of West Virginia?
So if you go west in West Virginia, it's the westest of the west of Virginia.
I really struggled, and multiple times I was like, you guys, I swear I've done this before. I'm sorry I'm not doing a good job, but I broke many, many times.
There was one scene that we had where, and I think you were off scene, but Perry was just dying laughing every single time. Yeah, and I was just like,
together.
You were born for this moment. Every choice, every mistake carried you to this spot.
When it ended, I was like, wait, no, more.
Yes.
Because it's also just like it's a big energy show too. When you have like, when you're working in a stadium and every seat is full, you're like, whoa, this is grand.
Why are you helping me?
Because no one is beyond second chances.
In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Wait, here's the thing. This is the problem that I have with Hollywood. They make that man look like he's an Oregon Ducks football player. He looks 38.
Well, I mean, he's I don't know how old he's supposed to be in the show.
He's supposed to be in college.
Oh, yeah.
Well, some of those college classes are very difficult.
Okay.
It takes a while to get through them all.
Probably the worst example of that was when I used to watch 90210 back in the day, Beverly Hills 90210. It's like about high school kids. And the actors are like 35 years old playing the high school kids.
Yeah.
Anyways. A very youthful looking Rod Hill with your forecast.
I like him though, Mr. Powell. I've liked him in all the movies he's been in. He's,
What's his name?
Powell is the last name.
What's his first name?
You're
so close.
Glenn.
Oh, very
Glenn.
good.
You got
Glenn
it.
Powell.
I thought of the astronaut, and then that gave me the John Glenn.
Whatever it takes,
Glenn.
buddy.
Whatever.
Whatever you need to do to get there.
Thank you. Here's a look at our radar. We've got solid rain up the coast. Now understand, all of this is marching inland. So you folks at the coast, raining right now, but you'll be mainly dry this afternoon with a scattered shower threat. Now for the valley, it's been mainly dry up until now, and Portland, the rain is starting to move in. When we started the show at 5 o'clock, I thought Portland maybe wouldn't see much rain before 8. It's coming in. I mean, here's the back edge of the steady stuff. There's a little finger it's coming in, but clearly this is now the start of steady rain. And we could see this mainly light, steady rain band all the way through about 4 o'clock this afternoon. So not much dry time expected once the rain moves into where you live. It's still dry out on the east side. There's Troutdale, there's Sandy, there's Estacada, but the rain march will eventually get you in the coming hours as well. Futurecast 9 o'clock this morning showing the rain, the leading edge of the steady stuff right about I-5. There it is still overhead at noon, and here's the drying at the coast. And then here we are at 4 o'clock this afternoon, still raining more than not in the valley. There's a heavy rain band this afternoon. You see Burns and the bright colors moving out across areas of eastern Oregon as well. So that's the setup for today in terms of the timing. Rain amounts today, Astoria's already picked up over 3/10, maybe a half of an inch by now. 84 100ths expect a few. You are the wet spot. Portland closer to a 1/10 of an inch. That shows you the rain rates will mostly be light. Better chance of a 1/4 inch of rain when you drop south into the valley, and then some measurable rainfall out across the east. Now, we get a dry break overnight tonight, or mainly dry break, and tomorrow morning, but then more rain tomorrow afternoon, more rain on Wednesday, scattered showers on Thursday. So you put it all together, here are the 4-day rain totals, nearing 2 inches in Astoria, and over a half of an inch, somewhere between a half of an inch to maybe an inch of rain up and down the I-5 corridor is the way it looks. This is socked in with rain falling right now. Chinook Winds Casino Resort in Lincoln City. Here's our Salem sky camera. Yeah, you've got a raindrop on the lens, so that's showing what the radar was indicating. The rain has now moved in, and we're starting to see the rain move into the Portland area. So far, the roads have been quite dry, but that's going to be changing minute by minute now as we move forward. 61 in Portland, 59 out in Baker City. If you throw out Burns where it's 43, we're all kind of in the same temperature category. Valley forecast. The periods of light rain now setting up and continuing into much of the afternoon. Same things for Southwest Washington. Not much wind, southwest 5 to 15. Highs will be in the 60s. Again, we get a dry break, mainly dry, overnight tonight and tomorrow morning. Then we've got rain coming in tomorrow afternoon, the wet Wednesday. Right now, Friday, Saturday, Sunday look to be dry, and that is your forecast.
Rod, thanks for that. Let's pick it up with that TriMet alert. We're hearing about some maintenance running late near the Washington Park station. And so right now, TriMet is telling us that the red line may be delayed upwards of an hour and the blue line delayed upwards of 30 minutes. Again, due to some overhead wiring and maintenance that's ongoing near Washington Park. We understand this should be wrapping up soon, but if you're about to get on the rails right now, know that that's going to take you some substantial extra time for now. We'll stay on top of that for you. All right, let's get back to the drive over the Interstate Bridge, southbound I-5, one of the busier commutes out there. It also looks like it might be starting to get a little damp up there. Not sure if that's rain just yet, but wouldn't be surprised if it is. 22 minutes now, the drive in from Main Street to the Fremont Bridge. Quick check of the Banfield, slow and steady coming in from the Hollywood district. Right now, I-84 westbound is holding steady at about 22 minutes from Troutdale. Drew?
All right, thank you, Chris.
We heard a big bang and it blew the doors in the church, and then everything after that was chaos.
A man drives through the front doors of a church over the weekend, opens fire, and sets the church on fire. We're going to have the latest from Michigan, along with some of this morning's other national headlines, when Sunrise continues in 2 minutes.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
It's certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news, live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news, live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
At least 4 people died and several others are injured after authorities say a man opened fire at a church in Michigan and then set the church on fire. NBC's Jay Gray brings us more on the suspect.
Overnight, federal agents, police, and firefighters continuing to work the scene. Investigators searching the suspect's home. As a stunned community also searches for answers.
We have also witnessed the result of wicked rule in our county, state, and nation.
Flames and a spray of gunfire ripping through a Sunday service at a Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc Township, Michigan.
We heard a big bang and it blew the doors in the church, and then everything after that was chaos.
Chaos, leaving at least 4 dead, 8 injured. Carried out, police say, by this man, 40-year-old ex-Marine Thomas Jacob Sanford.
He drove his vehicle through the front doors of the church. He then exited his vehicle, firing several rounds at individuals within the church.
Also, allegedly setting fire to the sanctuary, worshipers instantly shifting to heroes as the killing spree unfolds.
They were shielding the children who were also present within the church, moving them to safety. Just hundreds of people just practicing their faith, just extreme courage.
The horrific attack ending as police rush in, fatally shooting the suspect in the church parking lot. Jay Gray, NBC News, Grand Blanc, Michigan.
Here's a look at some other national headlines this morning with your morning rush. Police say a stowaway was found dead in the landing gear of an American Airlines flight that flew from Europe to Charlotte, North Carolina. Maintenance crews found the body while working on the plane. American Airlines says it's now working with law enforcement on this investigation. President Trump will meet with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu today at the White House. The Trump administration is pushing a 21-point peace plan that demands Hamas free all remaining hostages within 48 hours. The plan also lays out a post-war roadmap for Gaza, but it does not include U.S. support for a Palestinian state, even though a lot of countries, including Canada, France, and the UK, are behind that idea. And one more headline here, Hillshire Brands is recalling 58 million pounds of corn dogs and sausages on a stick. The USDA says the batter may contain pieces of wood. The products were sold all across the country and have made at least 5 people sick. Customers are urged to either throw out this product or return it for a refund. That's your morning rush, and we have more Sunrise for you coming up here in 2 minutes after this quick break.
KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free. On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus.
We have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yes.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW Plus.
We're coming up on 7:29 on your Monday morning drive. We start off with a big TriMet alert right now because of some overhead wire issues. We understand some maintenance that may have been running a little late here. There are significant delays on the Max Red and Blue lines. The Max Red line delayed up to an hour. The Blue line delayed up to 30 minutes both ways. So just know that as you make your way out the door. Drive time's getting busier. I-5 from Clark County, 22 minutes to get you in from Main Street. Starting to get a little wet out there, Rod.
Yeah, manageable rainfall is now moving into the Portland area after what was mainly a dry start to our day. So we're on the leading edge of all of this rain that is coming in. And the way it's going to end up being a day that sees more steady rain than not moving forward from now, if it's rained to your place already, all the way through about 4 o'clock this afternoon. Nothing stormy, and I think the rain will be more light than moderate, but it will be moderate perhaps at times. There's downtown still waiting for the I-5 corridor to get completely drenched with rain. 61 is the temperature. We'll hold in the 60s today. This is a pattern of rain at times all the way through Thursday.
7:30 on a Monday morning on what will be a rainy day in the valley. And yes, here's some proof. Already raining in Salem this morning. A look at our Salem sky cam pointed at the Capitol building with raindrops on the lens. Should we say good morning to the drops, or should we say good morning to the people of Salem?
The people of Salem.
Say it.
Good morning. Yeah, I haven't seen clouds out there in a while.
Yeah.
Rod.
I was kind of rooting for you to say hi to the drops, the weatherman part of me, you know, kind of exciting.
Do you want me to say hi to you?
Please.
Good morning. Better? Do you feel better?
I feel good.
Okay. Go.
All right, here's a look at our satellite loop. We've got solid clouds. We've got rain just now marching in to the I-5 corridor. Again, this is moving to the east. This is a weakening front. So as rain picks up in Portland, and we have more than not steady rain going all the way through mid-afternoon, you folks at the coast will actually, by noon today, see your rain mostly over, and you'll start to dry out. But for the Rose City, it's just starting to get going. You can see there's some pavement. It's wet. That's the Salem tasting room camera in Sherwood, where it is now raining. 58 degrees is the number. Radar showing we're starting to get raindrops here in downtown Portland as well. We're at 61 degrees. The forecast, again, to me, this looks to be steady, light rain, more than not. Maybe it would be a little heavier times, all the way through about 4 o'clock this afternoon. No wind, no storminess, just some raindrops. Here's Chris.
All right, we found the rain. Wasn't hard. There it is. I-5 up near the Expo Center. Found the traffic, too. There's your southbound commute starting to tighten up accordingly, and we would expect that for this hour of a Monday morning drive. 25 minutes gets you in from Main Street to the Fremont Bridge. Looks even a little wetter out on the west side. Highway 26 out near Cornelius Pass Road. The drive getting thicker there as it is on the Banfield as well. Big heads up for folks that use TriMet's Max red and blue lines. TriMet telling us because of some maintenance work and overhead wire issues near Washington Park. The red line's delayed up to 60 minutes. The blue line delayed up to 30 minutes. Again, this is because of an issue near Washington Park. We're working to get some more details on this, and I'll bring those to you just as soon as we have them. Guys?
All right, thank you, Chris. Back to our top story this morning. Portland and the state of Oregon respond to the Trump administration's decision to authorize 200 National Guard members into service here in the city.
Protests were held at the ICE facility last night following the president's announcement. Center's reporter Thomas Schultz joins us from downtown Portland. So Thomas, what else do we know about the ICE facility protests?
Well, guys, we just learned a few minutes ago that 2 people were arrested by Portland police last night for fighting. Outside of that, Portland police say that the protests were for the most part uneventful, though at times, at least once last night, they did push people away from the ICE building, backing them away from the facility. KGW crews were out there throughout the evening and saw crowds shrink as the night went on. This all comes after the Trump administration called 200 Oregon National Guard members into service after President Trump said on Saturday troops were needed to protect ICE facilities in, quote, war-ravaged Portland. That sparked large protests in downtown Portland along the waterfront, where Governor Tina Kotek marched with protesters.
When people cross the line, there's unlawful activity. People are being held accountable. This is not an insurrection. This does not require military troops in an American city.
Next, sir, we have an executive order on TikTok.
On Sunday, President Trump told NBC he had a phone call with Kotek that showed him a different perspective, saying, quote, "I spoke to the governor. She was very nice. But I said, well, wait a minute. Am I watching things on television that are different from what's happening? My people tell me different. They're literally attacking and there are fires all over the place. Since June, more than 24 people have been arrested in connection with protests outside the ICE facility along the South Waterfront. Many arrests happened in the first month of protest, resulting in misdemeanor charges. 3 people charged with failure to obey a lawful order pleaded guilty and received 6 months of probations and fines. Other cases are still ongoing. Some people face charges for assault of federal officers and they're waiting on a jury trial. Again, many of these arrests, guys, have happened previously in the past few months. Drew, China?
Thomas, thank you. And some of Portland business leaders are also rejecting President Donald Trump's plans, calling for unity in an open letter from the Portland Metro Chamber. So it said in part, quote, "We firmly oppose any deployment of federal troops to our city and reject the negative characterization of our citizen. Recent statements by the president suggesting Portland needs federal military intervention are inaccurate and counterproductive to Portland's recovery and success in improving public safety." The letter cited that homicides and gun violence are down in Portland this year. It also claimed that federal troop deployments in Washington, D.C. hurt local businesses there. But the full letter is available to read on the Portland Metro Chamber's website.
In other headlines this morning, starting in southern Oregon, the Moon Complex fire is forcing evacuations in Curry County. This fire was started by lightning and has grown to more than 17,000 acres. We know it's also 10% contained. So there are now level 3 and level 2 evacuation orders in that area. As officials say, this fire is threatening some homes and buildings. The Oregon State Fire Marshal is also bringing in extra resources to help fight the fire.
Nearly 60 firefighters were needed to put out a fire at an assisted living facility in northeast Portland. The fire broke out Sunday afternoon at Furwood Gardens in the Hazelwood neighborhood. The residents there required 24-hour care, and many have mobility issues. Firefighters quickly called in extra resources to fight the fire and evacuate residents.
It's a significant concern to safely search and evacuate everybody. So a second alarm was called right away just because of the number of people we were going to have to deal with. We were able to evacuate everybody out of the structure safely.
One person is facing life-threatening injuries. The cause of the fire is under investigation.
Authorities are also investigating after a body was found floating in the Tualatin River over the weekend. Paddleboarders reported seeing the body on Sunday near Browns Ferry Park outside of Tualatin. The medical examiner will determine the person's identity and the cause of death. 2 Portland police officers are recovering after they got into a fight with a suspect that ended with the suspect in a neck hold. Police were called to Northeast 33rd near I-84 right around 9 o'clock Saturday morning after getting reports about a man who was swinging a metal pole at passing cars. When officers found the man at Oregon Park, things got physical. At one point, police say the suspect tried to pull an officer's gun out of its holster. That's when one of the officers used a neck hold to get the suspect under control. He was taken to the hospital as a precaution. The officers also went to the hospital, one with a head injury, the other with a hand injury. So no shots were fired here, but this is being treated as a deadly use of force investigation. Portland police policy says anytime an officer uses physical force that puts pressure on someone's neck, even if the person does not lose consciousness, it's considered deadly use of force. And even though the suspect in this case is recovering, homicide detectives are investigating. The officer who used the neck hold is on paid administrative leave, which is standard procedure.
Starbucks, come negotiate!
So local Starbucks workers held a rally in Hillsborough yesterday demanding the company settle a fair union contract. Starbucks Workers United sent us this video from the rally. The union says that workers want improved staffing on the job, protections, and higher wages. This comes after Starbucks announced the closing of hundreds of stores nationwide last week.
All right, today is National Coffee Day. I mean, first and foremost, it's Monday, right? We got to go back to work. But it's also National Coffee Day. And according to Wallet Hub, Portland is the very best coffee city in the U.S. One of the main reasons, according to researchers, is the number of affordable, highly rated coffee shops in Portland. And here's one more fact for you on this National Coffee Day Monday. Coffee first became popular in the U.S. in 1773 after the Boston Tea Party. The switch from tea to coffee was seen at the time as very patriotic.
And I'm proud to be an American where at least I know I've moved on.
I drink my
I'm gonna come here. I get the flavor.
It's not National Coca-Cola Day.
Yeah, well.
Rod, you still have Rod still has his coffee.
Yes.
There you go.
I'm with the program. Thank you very much.
Where's your coffee?
I have one cup in the morning.
I was gonna say you don't drink coffee.
I drink 1 cup in the morning before I come here, and then I'm ready to go.
Which is crazy, which means he's naturally like this.
Caffeinated.
All the
Naturally
time.
caffeinated.
Yeah, at least when I get a little crazy, it is because of the coffee. But Drew's got no explanation to your point.
I do. It's my brain. My brain makes me crazy.
Get you going with the radar out the door. I'm going to put my coffee down. Solid rain moving in from the coast and now starting to bounce into Portland. Chris has noted that the highway I-5 up through Delta Park and then up across the Columbia is wet right now. Salem, you're in the rain. This is steady, mostly light rain that will be with us potentially all the way through about 3 or even 4 o'clock this afternoon. So this will be a rainy day. It's just that we're getting at least through the first half of the commute without there being much accumulative rain on the roads. And there's a good chance the rain will be mainly out of here by the time the afternoon commute gets going. So the timing is not that bad. Now, it's been a rainy morning at the coast. Here's Snookwinds Casino Resort in Lincoln City, 57. You folks will see most of today's rain wrap up by the noon hour, and then you'll have mainly dry conditions this afternoon. Here's Portland. Still looks kind of dry, right? But the rain is starting to pick up across the city at this moment. 59 Hillsborough, where it is raining. 56 out in Troutdale. It's still dry. Again, this is moisture arriving from the west. Now raining in Salem, 59 degrees for you. Philly is our KGW dog of the day, all dressed up as a Philadelphia Eagles fan. I'll say it for Mr. Carney, the reigning Super Bowl champions. Dog of the day at KGW.com is the email address. Send us your dog's photo and name, and your dog will be our dog of the day. Especially if your dog is a Kansas City Chiefs fan, we'll definitely get your dog on the show. We have temperatures only about 60 at the coast and only 60s inland because of the rain and the clouds just holding temperatures down. So there is heavier rain expected out in eastern Oregon this afternoon. We'll get more into the timing of the next days coming up, but this is rain at times in our forecast still, all the way through Thursday. Let's go to a Philadelphia Eagles fan. Here he is, Chris McGinnis.
Yeah, fly Eagles fly, right? 4-0. Nice to start the season that way. All right, let's get you out the door. I've got an update on this TriMet situation. So it appears that the overhead wire issue and maintenance problem that they were dealing with at Washington Park has some resolution, but still, TriMet is saying expect some delays up to 50 minutes on the red line both ways through 8:30. Delays up to 30 minutes on the blue line, again, through about 8:30. So hopefully within the next hour or so, we'll get things back to normal. Okay, on the roads, they are starting to get a little wet. As Rod mentioned, there's the live look up near the Expo Center. There's your I-5 South commute. Slow and steady, says it. The trip out of Clark County down 25 minutes on I-5. Wetter on the roads here on the west side. That's a live look out near Cornelius Pass Road. That's Cornelius Pass. There's Highway 26, and the drive times right now starting to build just a little bit coming in from that side of town. We'll keep you posted. Drew?
Sounds good, Chris. Thank you.
But nowadays, who knows what's going to happen?
Still to come here on Sunrise, President Trump suggests that he could move the World Cup out of Seattle next summer if he doesn't think the city is safe enough. More details on the way. Also coming up, the city of Sherwood celebrating a new way to get from point A to point B. The ribbon cutting and ceremonial walk across the city's new pedestrian bridge when Sunrise continues after this.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with KGW and KGW Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage on KGW Plus. The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust. Track how the weather will impact your day. Breaking news, live from the scene. All the local news you need. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
Issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yes.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
It's certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW Plus.
Next summer, Lumen Field in Seattle is scheduled to host 6 World Cup games, attracting hundreds of thousands of people from all over the world. But President Trump is casting some doubt on whether or not those matches will actually be played in Seattle. Here's Brady Wakayama with more.
I think it's not safe. We're going to move it out of that city.
That's President Trump's plan if he believes a city selected to host a FIFA World Cup game isn't safe enough. During this Thursday press conference, a reporter asked the president his thoughts specifically about two democratically led host cities, Seattle and San Francisco.
Could those games move if they don't cooperate with your prime push?
Well, that's an interesting, I guess, but we're going to make sure they're safe. They're run by radical left lunatics and that don't know what they're doing.
As the presser went on, the president did say he hopes that he doesn't have to move host cities. However, it's unclear if he has any authority to make that decision.
I don't believe he does, but nowadays, who knows what's going to happen.
We spoke with the owner of George and Dragon, a longtime soccer bar in Seattle's Fremont neighborhood. He's frustrated by the president's comments.
Businesses are already uncertain. We're having a tough time as we are right now. It feels like it's just somebody throwing just more wood on the fire of uncertainty and how do you get through to next World Cup, much less get through the World Cup.
He's not the only one sounding off on the president's comments. Seattle Mayor Bruce Harrell said in a statement, President Trump continues to display his ignorance about our city. We're doing the hard work to prepare for this once-in-a-generation opportunity to welcome the world to Seattle. According to Mayor Harrell, violent crime in Seattle is down 20%, and the city has hired nearly 130 new officers this year. Meanwhile, a spokesperson with Seattle FIFA World Cup 26 sent King 5 this statement saying in part, they are confident in our planning and coordination in advance of next summer's matches.
That was Brady Wakayama performing.
Performing a report.
Let's talk about a performer. Bad Bunny will be performing at Super Bowl 60 halftime show. This will be the second time that the singer has been on the Super Bowl halftime stage. Back in 2020, he was a guest performer during Shakira and Jennifer Lopez's Sept. And during his career, the 31-year-old has had more than 100 songs on the Billboard's Hot 100 chart and 4 #1 albums.
All right, one more note here before we get back to Rod. It is official. Snoop Dogg coming back by popular demand to help cover next year's Winter Olympics. So if you remember, Snoop was part of the Paris Games and provided commentary. It was kind of like unforgettable commentary, actually.
Oh, he was fantastic.
A must-see on TV. Snoop Dogg. He will now do the same in Italy for the February Games. Again, this is just a few months away at this point. They begin February 6th. You can watch the Winter Olympics right here on KGW. Lots of news covering this morning.
How would you like to be Snoop's agent? So, NBC, you say you really enjoyed my fella there during the Olympics. Let's talk.
My dog.
Because he was great.
He really was.
Yeah.
I mean, it's part of the key there is to bring in people who may not be your hardcore Olympics or sports fans.
Yeah.
Snoop does it.
Yeah. No,
well, very well.
He was really great. Stay away from weather, Snoop.
Oh.
Here's a look at our, just saying, man. Here's a look at our satellite radar. We've got solid rain along the coast. It's now moving into the valley. This will keep marching off to the east, which means after a rainy morning, you folks at the coast will start to dry out. But we're now at the starting gate with the rain it's been raining for a little while down in Salem. The Portland Metro slowly seeing rain pick up at this time. It's also raining up in parts of Clark County, Battleground, and Salmon Creek. West side, Beaverton, and where you see the darker greens, that's some decent rain rates. I've been saying nothing stormy and mostly light rain rates expected in downtown Portland. But now that it is raining, this is a rainy day. We think it'll be raining fairly steadily as late as 3 or 4 o'clock this afternoon. So that's a gray, drippy Monday. Futurecast shows that. It also shows at noon the coast drying out with the rain still going up and down I-5. And by the way, the front that drives this is kind of washing out as it pushes inland. So it's not a clean break of rain just coming and boom, it's gone. Because the front kind of washes out, the rain just kind of piddles and piddles. That's why we think we could potentially have fairly steady rain much of the day, all the way through, as I mentioned, 3 or 4 o'clock. Now, if the weather model is correct, Portland only gets 1/10 of an inch of rain, so that's evidence of a fairly light rain rate. Heavier in some spots. It shows about 1/4 of an inch in Salem and Corvallis. We have a dry break, mostly dry break overnight tonight and tomorrow morning. Then more rain comes in tomorrow afternoon. Rain Tuesday night, rain Wednesday, scattered showers on Thursday. So all total from today through Thursday, weather model says Most of the beach gets well over an inch of rain, maybe close to 2 up in Astoria, and at least over a half of an inch of rain in the valley. We'll see if anybody gets closer to an inch of rain. With raindrops falling over the waterfront, this is the Springs at the waterfront in Vancouver. Not really any wind. You can see that one boat approaching the interstate bridge or going underneath it. That's glassy water again on the Columbia River. Temperatures 59 Salem, 61 Portland, 63 Bend. Most areas are reporting some cloudiness, and temperatures are pretty uniform across the area. Headline for the coast, a rainy morning, an afternoon shower threat, but you could easily just be dry this afternoon for the most part. For the valley, it's at periods of steady rain, mostly light rain, all the way into mid-afternoon. We get the break tonight. We have a mainly dry Tuesday morning, then rain returns, and then the rain Wednesday and the showers on Thursday after that. We could be looking at a nice upcoming weekend. Here's Chris.
Well, that'll get you through a gloomy Monday, right? Thinking about the weekend. Let's get you out the door. A little bit of red and yellow on the map. We are starting to slow down. Let's take you to one of those slow spots. I-205 coming off the Abernathy Bridge. You can see that southbound commute with the headlights. That's pretty slow between Oregon City and West Lynn. Not that that's all that unusual, but just to let you know, we're always watching it. Watching the rain fall on the Sylvan Hill. There's Highway 26 out near Skyline Boulevard. The headlights there representing the inbound commute coming up from 217 to Skyline. So obviously it's starting to tighten up a little bit there. In fact, that's one of our other slow spots. 30 minutes now to get folks in from Brookwood Parkway to I-405. And a reminder from TriMet as they continue to recover from some earlier issues in the at the Washington Park station with some overhead wires. They've got that resolved, but there still are delays up to about 50 minutes on the red line, up to 30 minutes on the blue line, with regular service presumably coming back around 8:30 this morning. So just be aware of that as you ride the MAX red and blue lines over on the west side. Hey, remember this story that we told you about? The new Sherwood Bridge over 99W getting its ceremonial opening. And the city of Sherwood sending us, wish you could hear the sound of the marching band, but you can see the color guard there and the band christening the bridge there with the high school marching band going over the bridge this weekend. That was a big celebration out in Sherwood as they opened that 230-foot span over 99W connecting the Sherwood YMCA and the new Sherwood High School on the west side of town. Drew, you missed that story this weekend, but it was a fun one on Friday, and they are happy to have that bridge open. Look at that. Look at the color guard there. That's pretty cool.
Very, very cool, Chris. Thank you.
So to come on Sunrise, a food safety rating expansion is coming soon to the Seattle area. Look at the new rules and fines restaurants could face. What locals there had to say about it. Sunrise streaming live at 7 continues in 2 minutes.
The KGW Plus TV app, streaming 24/7. Local news from the team you trust on your time. Track how the weather will impact your day.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
Extended, continuous coverage of breaking news, live from the scene.
That snowpack is still heavy.
Go deeper with in-depth interviews and exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. KGW Plus. Download on your TV and watch for free.
We have now issued a weather impact alert.
We could expect conditions in some parts of our area to change drastically pretty soon, right?
And very quickly, yeah.
This is significant rainfall coming our way.
You'll definitely want to be extra cautious.
Certainly becoming increasingly hazardous.
We've got the potential for some tree limbs or even trees or power lines to come down.
Of course, when you hear thunder, it's always best to take cover.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stream extended coverage on KGW Plus.
Over in Washington, restaurants that violate labor laws could soon face more than fines. In King County, a new rule ties labor violations directly to food safety inspections, and it's sparking debate. Christian Balderas with our sister station Seattle spoke with people outside Capitol Hill restaurants.
chances are you've seen them at some point.
I do notice it.
Food safety ratings posted in restaurant windows.
Food safety, that is super important. So that could mean like they have animals crawling around.
In Seattle's Capitol Hill neighborhood, not everyone sees the grade as a warning to pay attention to.
It doesn't really impact. It doesn't impact it, no. I more look like on the internet, like to see like what other people are getting, like what's hot in the area.
But soon a second sign may have you thinking differently. King County restaurants with unresolved labor violations will have to post a placard right next to their food safety rating.
The rule and regulation that's being proposed for your consideration today is about common sense public health policy.
The placards will stay up until violations are resolved, and restaurants will be subjected to additional health inspections. The rule only applies after businesses have exhausted their appeals and continue operating without paying fines.
The worry is that where there's smoke, there's fire.
This is a first-of-its-kind rule for Washington State and follows similar measures that were implemented in 2 California counties. Reactions on the street were mixed.
That's great. I used to work at a pizza place and Starbucks, so that's super important to get fair wages.
I don't know if the county should be doing that to everyone. That's a little intimidating.
The bar manager at Gemini Room says the new rule could shake things up.
It would make more of a standard for the industry for places that aren't following labor laws.
The numbers suggest this won't affect many businesses, but for some consumers, the information might not even matter.
Honestly, if the food's good, I'm gonna go. We're coming here to eat some food. We're not really like worried about like the wages.
Coming up at 8 o'clock, Portland and the state of Oregon suing the Trump administration for authorizing the deployment of the National Guard to the city. The latest in our top story this morning.
We'll also have more on yesterday's deadly shooting at a church in Michigan as investigators piece together what led up to the tragedy. KGW News at Sunrise continues live in the 8 o'clock hour, starting in 3 minutes.